In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to run a seven-figure business while working 20 hours or less per week. And honestly, it's probably going to be one of the most fun videos I've ever created, because in this, I'm going to actually break down kind of like my lifestyle and how I built a business that supplements how I want to live my dream life. And there was a lot of trial and error to get here, and I'm going to explain all that. But I think a lot of people preach this type of lifestyle, but you don't see them consistently running their business or actually delivering for their clients. So I want to show you how I've been able to do it. And just to give you some context, this is the last 14 days of me creating this video. Me and my girlfriend G over here decided that last minute we just wanted to get out of Tampa. So we booked a flight within 24 hours to go to San Diego, had a good time there, explored a little bit, and then we came back. We were there for about a week or so. We came back a couple days, locked in on some work, and then we went to meet up with some of our friends in Miami. And you can see here, we took a party bus out, went golfing with some of the guys, had a big group dinner, which is really, it was a lot of fun, right? And then the other part of a lot of this aspect is I eat out a lot, right? And, you know, I wanted to also show you it's more than just that. This is my Flightly passport, which is a really cool app, by the way. If you've never heard of it, it's called Flightly, where it'll track all of your flights. So this is from 2025 so far. This year, I've traveled 50,000 miles. I've been on a plane for a total of 4 days and 18 hours. So almost 5 days I've spent on a plane. I've been to 24 different airports and 13 different airlines. You can see here, literally traveled across the world, into Europe, into Southeast Asia, into Tokyo, all around the world this year while my business still runs. And here's a screenshot just to show you some proof as well. We've done over $8 million inside this business. And that's, if I'm being honest, it's a little bit of an old screenshot. I'm not going to give the exact number right here because, to be honest, I don't really feel like going and finding the exact number and updating it. I'm trying to just make this as efficient as possible. So the first thing you need to realize is what the problem is in the industry is. Like, we've all been lied to. The whole idea of hustle, hustle, hustle 24/7. Like the people like Gary Vee over here that says you have to grind in your sleep in order to make money and do this. It's all bullshit. You don't have to do that. You just have to be intelligent. And I'm going to break that down and how how I used to fall into this trap and how you can avoid it as well too. But like the whole idea of the endless content grind, you need a huge team. And like the reason I'm saying this is because I personally followed all this stuff. I built a business up to multiple seven figures, and I shut it down not too long ago because of all this bad advice and all this stuff on social media where people are doing clickbait stuff just to get more views. It's not real. It's not sustainable. I put a video, actually, it was a little over 3 years ago. I shut down my seven-figure agency because of this, because of not understanding what I'm about to share with you today. And if you want, you can go watch that video. It's actually on my YouTube. I'd say watch this video full first, and then if you want to go back and go check it out, you can. And at this point, I've coached over 2,400 coaches, and I see it over and over and over again. Burnout is the biggest obstacle entrepreneurs have, and today I'm going to show you how to completely bypass it. Again, I like to prove everything I say. I have currently over 2,400 clients that I've worked with, high-ticket clients in my community, right? So the real thing that you have to understand is just two words: leverage plus systems. The secret, it's not doing more. It's actually doing less, but better. And I want to introduce you to like kind of our black box ecosystem idea. It's basically you have ads, setters, closers, fulfillment, you have upsells, you have cross sells, you have ways that you have an ecosystem inside your business that continues to grow. And I'm not going to break all this down too much right here because I have other videos on my channel that break it down, but think about your business as an eco box. It's something that compounds. The way my business runs right now, every asset I build, every time I spend in it, it compounds over and over. It's kind of like investing in the S&P 500. You're getting on average an 8% return every single month. But in reality, with this business, that 8% is a lot higher. So this is one of the strategies I teach. Is a lot of people just build one offer and they run ads to it or do organic and then they burn out. I teach building a ecosystem, which we call kind of like the black box theory of once you get somebody in your ecosystem, it's really maximizing that LTV and getting them amazing results so they stay with you, but also having multiple different streams of getting people in there. So I'm not going to break down the black box right now and all this. You can go check out my video. There's actually a video right below this that'll explain that in more detail. But again, watch the rest of this video because I'm going to explain all of this so it makes sense. Because every hour I put in compounds because of the system that's running in the background. And here's basically like, part of our lazy funnel. This is a quick preview. Again, this isn't the most accurate photo, but this is kind of like how the funnel works. Again, video down below that explains that in more detail. And then I also have 2 other videos on this channel that I released recently that explain how the system works without me. Because kind of like what I was saying here is you need a business machine, not a personal grind. My business machine is built off of systems and leverage. So here's 2 videos right here that'll kind of give you a solid understanding of like how all that goes into play. Because like when I see people doing the personal grind over and over and over, and I have some friends that do this and I respect it, but it's just not sustainable. And I'm telling you this because I've gone through it. I used to do this. You have to build a team and you have to leverage your time to be able to do this the right way with the right systems. Because like, I'll be honest, the people that are in, if you have yourself and you have like a VA or 2 VAs on your team, you're not a business, you're a freelancer. And that was a very hard thing for me to realize, but you have to be honest with yourself. So I want to break down the 20-hour framework. And if I'm being 100% honest with you, right now, this 20-hour framework, it's really less than 10 hours inside this company that I'm doing right now. Now, I love what I do. I love to work. So I'm building other things as well. But like for this one business, it's less than 10 hours. Recently, I brought on 2 other portfolio clients, and one of them we are building from scratch where I have the majority ownership in. So like a lot of my time's going into that. So I'm not factoring that in as we're building that out right now. Factoring in building just one 7-figure coaching business, right? Here's the macro level of it. 4 hours through content and ads. You record videos, you run IG ads or whatever type of ads you run, and you oversee the creative. You have an automated content system. Again, check YouTube if you want to see more of this, but here it is, literally right here. I just released that, I believe today as I'm recording. And you have to manage your teams, right? Right now, I'm fully removed from sales management and client fulfillment. I am just focused on the bigger picture side of stuff, which is down here. So really, again, depending on how far you want to remove yourself, obviously you have to have the cash to be able to pay the right type of people. But 4 hours goes into sales leadership. That's 30 minutes to an hour every day that you meet up with your sales team. You go through KPIs, CRM, call notes. You work with the closers and setters. You're not doing the grind here. Just keep that in mind. You're leading. You're becoming a leader. You're not doing the day-to-day stuff. You're overseeing it at this point. Out meeting with the client success team, making sure that you have you're managing everything. Weekly coaching calls, depending on how you structure your business. For me, I have a total of 2 hours a week of coaching calls. And that's really the biggest chunk of my time because everything else is on strategy and growth and just like bigger business picture side of stuff. So high level planning with my COO, testing new plays, the black box ecosystem, the lazy funnel, different retargeting strategies, different ad strategies, all that fun stuff. And then the other 4 hours I put for flex. This is kind of like depending on what's the most necessary. So another thing that I'm doing that's taking up some of my time is we invested in our own software beginning of this year, and we've been dialing that in. We're finally releasing that to our clients. But there's a lot of different ways you can go about this, right? Like this is 20 hours. You really don't need 20 hours once you have all this in play. And for me, I brought on my COO. I don't need I have half that right now because my COO handles the day-to-day operations. He manages a CSM team. He manages the sales teams, the ops, et cetera, et cetera. I also brought in a media buyer. So I just trained him on our exact strategy. Now, when I trained him, there was more time involved to train for sure. But now I meet with him every Tuesday, which actually I'm meeting with him. It's 10:24 right now. I'm meeting with him at 11 o'clock. We meet every Tuesday for an hour and we go over game plan. I analyze the results with him and then I direct him on what I need him to do so I don't have to do the day-to-day stuff. The best part about this is I actually deleted Slack off my phone 4 weeks ago and I never went back. So if you have a team, a big team, or just people that always need your attention, you understand how amazing this is. Like Slack is where everybody can talk to me all day, every day. I don't have Slack on my phone at all anymore. I check Instagram maybe 10 minutes a day, if that, just to touch up on some stuff. So all of like the grind stuff is out. I'm very strategic with my time and how I plan it. And like I will say, the biggest flex for me is the Slack side of stuff. It's very hard for me to do, but my COO told me, it's Alec. He's like, yo, you need to delete Slack. You need to get out here, because he forced me to reset. And it was the best thing that ever happened to our company, was me taking time off to reset so I could have a better understanding of where we're going with everything. The next is tools and leverage that I want to cover with you. So automation and delegation is really your only solution. I put some on here. It's like, I'm a big component of Go High Level. I've been using them literally since like the first year that they came out. You can do all kinds of things for their automations. You can manage your team, your CRM, your funnels, everything inside there. It's really solid. All of our stuff goes to Slack. So what I used to preach is, hey, I can run this business off my phone. And that's what I did, but I was on my phone a lot, just always checking stuff. I got addicted to just dopamine hits of closing deals, proposals being signed, new stuff going on all the time. So that's why I deleted Slack, because I want to get rid of as much dopamine hits as I possibly can. Airtable is the next thing where we run everything. I can see every KPI, everything inside my Airtable. I can see the client stats, everything. One thing I didn't put on here that's been really helpful is every Monday when me and the team meet, the whole team, I think we have like 25 plus people on the team now, we meet and we go over a company scorecard, and that just gives me the health of the business. That's probably been the biggest, the most help that I've had inside my company. And I can't take credit for that. Shout out to Raj. He is the one he's part of our boardroom for our elite masterminds. And he gave me a template for it, and we kind of built on it. It's been super helpful. But then, yeah, we have the COO plus sales managers and setters and closers. It removes me from the day-to-day stuff. And then the ads and media buying. We have the funnels. I have a media buyer. I delegate all that, and then I just manage it. And I want to give you some tips on some top lessons that I've personally learned from delegating, because it is probably one of the hardest. I wouldn't say hardest. It's just one of the things that can be the most frustrating, because it's one of those things where you have to like kind of learn by experience, right? Clarity always beats talent. I used to think that I just needed A players only. The truth is, even the smartest people can't execute if you're vague. Delegation only works when you provide super crystal clear outcomes, no random instructions. It has to be super clear. And I've had this mistake. I brought on A players and they couldn't perform because I wasn't good enough at just telling them exactly what I needed to. The next is inspect what you expect. Delegating doesn't mean disappearing. This is huge here. I've made this mistake. After coaching over 2,400 clients, I see this happen every time someone gets into delegating. You cannot disappear. You have to show up. You have to manage. You have to continue tracking. You have to review dashboards, or nothing will work. A loophole with this is just having accountability loopholes. You can have daily reportings, dashboard audits. This is where we have our weekly scorecard. Systems scale people. Number 3, a person without a process will always create bottlenecks. I'll say that again. A person without a proven process will always create bottlenecks. This is why whenever you hire some done for you sort of system, it almost never works, because you don't have a proven system. I actually just got off a call with one of my clients the other day, and he goes, yeah, I hired this media buying company that scaled businesses to $1 million a month, and it's been a little over a month and nothing's working. All of my prices have increased, quality's dropped, all this stuff. And I said, well, yeah, man, I mean, it's no disrespect to them, but like, you started using our system, which was proven to work, and then you delegated to someone and they created an entire new system from scratch. What do you expect? It's not going to work. It's not saying they don't work, but it's like you should have just taken in-house what you've already done and trained somebody on to do it, because he disappeared after that too. You need a repeatable process, and that's what systems are for. Number 4, over-communicate upfront, under-communicate later. This is huge. Whenever I bring on a new agreement with anyone, I always tell them, hey, I'm going to over-communicate upfront, and I expect the same from you. We can under-communicate later on, because if you under-communicate up at first, you're going to have to over communicate later and it's not going to work. It's kind of like playing offense versus defense. I prefer to play offense so I can get on the scorecard first rather than playing defense and playing catch up. And number 5, delegate outcomes, not steps. The worst kind of delegation is micromanaging every click. Every single thing you do, I've done that. You don't want to do that. It'll drive you crazy. I learned to stop saying do this, this, and this, and instead said, hey, here's the outcome, and here's the deadline I want, and here are the guardrails you need to do. Figure out the path based off the systems and the processes we already have. That way, you assign ownership to someone. One of the values inside my company is extreme ownership. So another part of this is shared responsibility is no responsibility. If you have 2 people in charge of something, that's shared responsibility. I always assign one person responsibility for it. So if I have multiple people on there, I'd be like, okay, cool. So you're in charge of this. Can you confirm? I get them to double confirm because you have to have extreme ownership when it comes to this. So here's like my journey, right? It's worked for me. Now the question is, does it work for other people? Here are clients. These are some of them that I've sent awards to for hitting, 50, 100K, $1 million, 50, 100K a month, and then $1 million. I'm not going to go through all these just because there's quite a bit. But here's some of the awards we sent out. That's honestly probably a fourth of the ones we sent. Again, I'm not here to flex this. I just want to show you this stuff works. If you believe me, cool. If not, cool. I don't really care. It's the type of stuff that's on here that's going to work for you. The only reason I create these videos, as I've always been saying, is just a way to nurture people that are interested in working with us. That's really what it is. I do have stuff to sell you. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, but I'm going to provide free value to you to show you that it works. So there's some proof for you. And then also just I think the biggest part about this that nobody really talks about is the lifestyle and energy management. Because when you do this the right way, your lifestyle becomes a refreshment in order for you to grow your business more. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar with John Maxwell. I read a lot of his books. He talks about how he always sets aside time every week to think, and then every month he takes trips to think. I've been doing that more frequently, and my business has been growing more, and I've been the happiest I've been in business in a very long time. So here's basically, simple version of it is for me, my zone of genius is in the morning. Usually from depending on where I'm at traveling and stuff, if I'm locked in, dialed in at my laptop or my battle station here, I'll usually work from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. just in the business, creating videos, doing stuff that I actually want to do. And again, keep in mind, I have at this point, it's funny because I started this year with one business and one LLC, and now I have over 5 LLCs this year. So I have a lot of other bigger things that I'm working on, but for the main company that's producing multiple 7 figures, I don't have to do much with it right now. And that's really where a lot of this comes into play. So I travel when and where I want. I have little to no obligations on my calendar. And, I think the other part of this is just huge is, the gym and health side of stuff. My biggest priority in life is health and being happy, right? So I prioritize that type of stuff. I think a lot of people get so far into the mix of just work that they forget about their health. And it's what's the point if you can make all the money in the world, but you're not healthy, right? And then I also always have time at the end of every day for relationships and spending time with my girlfriend and Netflix or traveling or whatever we want to do. Some people, I see a lot of these work people say, oh, you're watching Netflix. That could be time that you could be working. I don't really care. Me, Netflix, chilling at the end of the day, it's how I reset. If I work from 8 a.m. until 12 p.m. every night, I hit burnout. I did that for a very long time. It's not sustainable. And again, here's just some of the photos that I wanted to put on here just to kind of show you it's legit. This is just the last 14 days of just me doing cool shit. And actually, as I'm looking at this, I used my girlfriend's photo here of her and all of her friends that we went out that night rather than the one up here of all of us. I mean, it's just a fun time when you can actually enjoy life and your business works. And that's really where we've changed a lot in our business. And we're going, we've restructured this year to have more of a healthy business rather than a grind business, because a grind business isn't sustainable. I've been there, guys. It doesn't work. It leads to a burnout. So again, I covered a lot in here. I kind of want to just give you an overview of the system strategies. If you want a full breakdown of how all of that works, there will be a video linked right below this that'll actually break down A through Z, like the actual system we use. So if you want to check that out, you can. Like I mentioned earlier on this call, my job is to provide cool videos that I genuinely like doing, provide value. And if you guys think that it makes sense for us to work together at any point, there'll always be a link down below this video where you can get some more information to see how that might play out. So hopefully this video is helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.